I'm doing a magnificent, big, beautiful ballroom that the country has wanted, the White House has wanted for 150 years. It's a massive job, and it's a tiny fraction of that number. And we're under budget and ahead of schedule. Now, it's bigger than I told you. After realizing we're going to do the inauguration in that building, it's got all bulletproof glass. It's got all drone, they call it drone-free roof. So drones won't touch it. It's a big, beautiful, safe building. But it's a big project. For a tiny fraction of that, we're under budget and ahead of schedule. And they've wanted it for 150 years.
This morning, Trump toured the White House ballroom construction site, and he called the ballroom his gift to the country. Yeah, it's a gift that no one wants. I mean, it's like an all-cantaloupe edible arrangement. You know what I'm saying? We know it looks like a rose, but no. Yep, Trump toured his new ballroom, but he didn't wear a hard hat. And if you saw the results of his last cognitive test, you'd understand why it wasn't necessary. Trump also said the new ballroom will be drone-proof. He said, so if a drone hits, it bounces off. Which makes me think it's going to be less ballroom and more bouncy castle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, these are stressful times for Trump, and get this, his second-term approval rating just hit a record low of 37%. But now Trump's trying to make it cool by walking around going, 3-7, right? 3-7, 3-7. Some more political news. Late yesterday, Trump announced that he was canceling a massive attack on Iran that was planned for today. So, like everyone else with plans on a Tuesday night, he just wasn't feeling it and bailed.
Just listen to what the President of the United States is saying, folks.
It was treated very badly by a lot of presidents, had no idea. The last one definitely had no idea. Do you think he walked in the office and said, I don't like the shape of the columns? I don't think so, Biden. I don't like the shape of the columns. He didn't notice things like that.
No, he didn't notice things like that. And you know why? Because he was president of the United States, not a developer, not an architect. He didn't walk into the office sitting there going, gee, I think I need to change the columns. What about the curtains? Let's put gold crap everywhere we can. Oh, and by the way, let's go change out the pool, right? The president ran the country. He didn't run construction. And so you're right, Mr. President. Joe Biden did not go into the Oval Office, nor did Barack Obama, George Bush, or any of the other predecessors before you go in there worried about the size of the columns and what they look like. But you do. And that tells us a lot about you.
Yet another White House makeover. The president says he's building a, quote, beautiful granite helipad on the White House South Lawn. He says it's needed because the next generation of Marine helicopters will likely damage the grass every time they land. And the project is expected to cost between $5 and $6 million. The president says the company that makes the new helicopter, that's Sikorsky, will cover the cost.
The president is now putting up tarps in front of the White House. These tarps will cover his latest construction project using your taxpayer dollars. This video is taken by Liz Lander, and you can see it's literally a tarp with fake columns on it. His latest construction project using your money is to redo the columns in front of the White House. And he wants his design that he's putting up covered up. Now, when I say your taxpayer dollars are being used, that's because they are. Honestly, National Park Service dollars that are meant to upkeep the national parks are being used to redo his columns, and he doesn't want the public to get a sneak peek of his design ahead of time. So if you want to know what the president is focused on while we're at war right now, it is redoing the columns, and we do know the president likes his tarps because there's still one up at the Kennedy Center. As always, spread the word, follow along for more.
It was never thought of as being much. It was a very small building, and rather than allowing that to hurt a very expensive, beautiful building that frankly, they've been after for years. You have that. I brought these along so people could see, but it's, there's a relative, nobody's actually seen anything quite like it. I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million. It's set to do many, many things, including meetings of foreign leaders, including the honoring of foreign leaders. You can see this. This is a plan. If it's got tables so that you honor a foreign leader, we have a proper space. Right now, we have a space that with tables holds about 79 people. And this is a proper kind of a thing. Now, what the White House was doing, as you know, is they were putting tents out on the lawn. This is an interior shot of the ballroom. I think there'll be nothing like it. And it's being paid for 100% by me. And
hello everyone, and welcome back to the Freedom Room, a channel where we break down the biggest stories around the world. Imagine walking past the most famous government building in the world and seeing something completely different. A place that has stood for centuries, witnessed wars, historic decisions, and countless presidential moments is now at the center of major debate. President Donald Trump plans to transform the White House has sparked a heated national conversation. Supporters call it a bold modernization project. Critics say it risks changing historic symbols that belong to all Americans. So what exactly is happening? Why is this project creating so much controversy, and what does it reveal about the ongoing battle between preserving history and creating new legacy? Stay with us as we uncover the story Trump's White House transformation. Please watch to the end and please subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Stay tuned. Let's continue watching the clips.
Trump has turned the White House into a construction disaster zone and is struggling to find an architect willing to finish the job. Now, I told you that there was a stall in the project. The entire thing started when Trump demolished the East Wing with no real plan, no public review, no respect for the fact that this is one of the most historically significant buildings in the country. And the relevance and the timing of all of this is that the total demolition has happened and the project now appears to be at a standstill. We have images of what's going on at the White House at this point in time. Trump has been insisting on building this 90,000 square foot ballroom that would be so big that it would dwarf the actual executive residence. And the architect that he had chosen, James McCrary II, said this doesn't work. This doesn't work. In addition to the obvious, an addition is not supposed to overshadow the building that it's attached to. Trump didn't like hearing that, as he doesn't when somebody tells him no. And he said to McCrary, bye-bye, you are gone. So the project is now frozen. The East Wing has already been torn down. There is a construction pit next to the White House. Costs have gone from what was going to be 200 million, 250, 300 million. Now there's even talk of 325 or 350 million. And there is still, as of today, not a functioning, approved design for what they want to do. They tried to scramble to bring in a new architect from Washington, D.C. Doesn't fix the underlying problem, which is that Trump is demanding something that is physically unrealistic. He ignored every warning. He fired the one person who tried to stop this from becoming a disaster. And if the story sounds familiar, this is Trump's business history.
Breaking news, we have new aerial photos of all the construction going on at the White House, and they're just insane. You just have to take a look at this. So over here, you can see all the dead grass. That is from the UFC fight. And then on top of it is where Trump is building a new helipad for Marine Force One to land. And then right above me, you can see the ballroom where Trump is constructing the ballroom, a military bunker, a drone port. Who knows? It's just completely insane, and it shows you where his priorities are at, as he's not focused on making life better for Americans, and he's more focused on his vanity projects. If you want to stay updated on everything going on, please, please, please hit us with a follow.
this will be the entrance into the ballroom. The ballroom will be right here. This is a beautiful glass tunnel. Beautiful tunnel that goes right into the ballroom. Ballroom's right there. Pretty good, right?
You've had so much fun, I feel like, designing this.
Well, I did. It's going to be one of the greatest. I would say it will be the greatest facility of its kind ever built, by far. There'll never be anything like it. And we're ahead of schedule. We're right on budget.
That's par for course.
And it's a gift from me and from great patriots that, it's going to cost the country nothing.
But you still had Democrats and people try to stop you with legal challenges, and it's like,
well, they want to
it's
stop
crazy.
only because it's me. If anybody else were doing it, they'd say, but they want to stop. But no, the ballroom is a gift to America from me and from Apple and from lots of great people and companies.
Donald Trump says he is building a brand new granite helipad on the White House lawn for Marine One, and construction has already started on the South Lawn. I mean, look at this. Trump says the project is needed because the newer presidential helicopters are just way too powerful to keep landing directly on the grass. The project is estimated to cost up to $6 million. Trump says it will be privately funded, with Sikorsky Aircraft paying the full cost. Sikorsky is owned by Lockheed Martin, and Lockheed Martin gets $55 billion annually, roughly, from the government and taxpayer funds. Like 75% of their revenue is also from taxpayer funds. But to take that for what you will, I don't believe that this is going to be privately funded, because it literally doesn't make sense if their entire business model relies on taxpayer money. But Lockheed Martin did not give reporters a timeline or a final cost. The company said the contribution was made to the Trust for the National Mall, which is the National Park Service's nonprofit partner, and said the work was being done in accordance with applicable laws and regulations. Trump says the new landing pad will be made of granite and include the White House seal carved into it. He said he suggested granite instead of just using concrete and painting it white. But, I mean, the issue does go back to the newer presidential helicopter fleet. In 2024, Sikorsky finished delivering 23 new VH-92A Patriot helicopters for use as Marine One. Former President Joe Biden took the first flight on one of the new helicopters that year. But those newer aircraft have seen limited use at the White House because of their exhaust vents pushing heat downward, and that heat has scorched the South Lawn. And then Trump says the issue is worse than discoloring the grass, right? He says the grass is getting ripped out from all of it, but the White House has relied for decades on older helicopters for presidential transport. The most iconic has been the VH-3D King, which first entered service in 1978. A Marine Corps spokesman said the Marine One squadron currently includes 9 VH-3D Seahawks, 6 VH-60Ns from the late 1980s, and 10 newer VH-92A Patriots. Trump says the new helipad will allow the White House to finally retire the older helicopters. The helipad is also part of the broader series of changes Trump has made to the White House grounds. As you all know, other projects have included changes to the Rose Garden, new flagpoles, renovations inside the building, and the demolition of the East Wing for a ballroom, which might not get done on time before he leaves. But Trump also said crews are working on columns on the north side of the White House, but he did not say who's paying for that column work.
I am standing to the side of the White House right now, and people may recognize that this is the North Portico, sort of the front entrance that people see from Pennsylvania Avenue of the White House. And there's a little press driveway here that we're allowed to stand along, and this is our press briefing room. Here, the rest of the West Wing is back kind of over in this direction. There has been a lot of scaffolding that has gone up in the front of the White House, in this area right here, in the last few weeks or so. And an hour ago, I saw workers, there were probably 6 or 7 of them, that were unfurling a tarp. So this is actually a tarp right here. You can't really tell, it's semi-transparent. And the tarp went down over the side of the scaffolding. I emailed the White House to ask them what's going on, and also if there are changes that are being made to the columns there that are in front of the White House that a lot of people recognize and see. This White House official emailed me back and said that the North Portico columns are currently undergoing standard restoration work. This is for stone repair in the columns. And then they also pointed me to a recent interview that Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum had done, where he said that the president had recently pointed out to him that there were dings in the plaster there on the North Portico.
You know, you cannot help but wonder if President Donald Trump didn't wait until after this weekend's massive No Kings protests. You can't help but wonder if he didn't wait until these protests were already done before today he started literally physically tearing down the White House.
The White House is more than just a building. It is a symbol of Americans' leadership, democracy, and history. For generations, presidents have walked, celebrated victories, faced crises, and welcomed world leaders inside its walls. Donald Trump has argued that the White House needs more space for major events. His proposed addition of a large state ballroom is designated to host diplomatic gatherings, ceremonies, and official events that currently require temporary arrangements outside its location. Supporters believe this project could become a lasting improvement. They argued that America's most important building should have modern facilities capable of hosting global leaders and major national events. Some supporters also see it as part of Trump's desire to leave a visible mark on the presidency, similar to other leaders who have shaped important institutions during their time of office. However, critics see this situation differently. They argue that the White House is not a private property or a personal project belonging to one president. It is a national historic landmark, and any major changes should be carefully considered. Questions have been raised about the costs, the preservation of history, and whether one administration should have the power to dramatically alter such an important symbol. The debate goes beyond bricks and construction. It raises a bigger question about America itself. Should presidents focus on preserving the traditions of the past, or should they have the freedom to reshape national institutions for the future? Throughout American history, every president has faced criticisms over decisions that lasted or that later became part of their legacy. Some changes were celebrated years later, while others remain controversial. The White House has evolved many times before. The question now is whether this transformation will be remembered as a necessary upgrade or as a moment when politics change the face of a national symbol. Thank you. Let's continue to watch the end, please. Continue watching the clips.
I just left the South Lawn of the White House, and we noticed some very interesting changes that President Trump has made to the colonnade. He has now installed a presidential walk of fame. On it, he has photos of every single president. He has now added descriptions underneath every single presidential portrait. The descriptions under his predecessor, Joe Biden, read sleepy and crooked. He calls former President Barack Obama one of the most divisive figures in American history. And then as for former President Bill Clinton, he has a note under there that his wife Hillary lost to him in 2016. These are just some of the changes that the president has made here to the White House. We already know that he has completely demolished the East Wing to make room for that ballroom. He's also paved over the Rose Garden. There's now a concrete patio in its place.
Last night, throughout the night, President Trump had a new construction project start at the White House that no one knew anything about. They began construction of a new helipad on the south lawn of the White House. So this is going where the Marine One helicopters typically land. It's supposedly being done to address a long-standing problem of the burning of the lawn from the exhaust from the new generation of helicopters that shoots heat downward. This is yet another major change to the White House grounds by Trump. We're not even sure if he got the proper approvals needed to do this, but they went ahead and did it throughout the night. And now we're learning that Sikorsky Aircraft, that's owned by Lockheed Martin, will be donating $5 million towards the construction of this helipad. Now, just a reminder that Lockheed Martin is one of the largest government contractors in the United States, with 75% of their revenue being made up of government contracts. Guys, it just never ends. It's an onslaught daily. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Like, share, spread the word, follow along.
Trump's actually building a top secret military complex under his White House ballroom, and the only reason we know about it is because a lawsuit accidentally exposed it. Right, and then you had Trump going ahead and confirming the whole thing himself.
The ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under the military, including from drones and including from any other thing.
With a lot of people thinking this is a reconstruction of the World War II bunker that sat under the East Wing, which is the one that Trump bulldozed back in October. But then also you got places like the New York Times asking a different question. What the hell is he actually building up top? Right? Because the design plans for the ballroom, they include staircases that lead to nowhere, so many columns that you can barely see out from the inside, and fake windows. All while Trump's likely getting the last green light that he needs this week because the board that has to approve it is taking its preliminary and final vote at the same time. Even though 98% of the 32,000 public comments that were submitted were against it. And of course, the
debate over Trump's White House project is not just about a building. It is about history, power, tradition, and the meaning of leadership in America. One side sees a president trying to improve an outdated facility. The other sees a historic symbol being changed too aggressively. What do you think? Is this project a positive investment in America's future, or should the White House remain untouched as a symbol of the past? Share your opinions in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to like this video, share it with others, and most importantly, subscribe to the Freedom Room for more stories about politics, history, issues shaping the world in general. Thank you. Please subscribe.